What are you hearing out of Chicago about the Bears quarterback competition, Kimberly?
This is just another confounding move in the quarterback situation in Chicago. It's all about competitive advantage for these coaches. And Coach Matt Nagy thinks that if he doesn't announce a starter between Trubisky and Nick Foles, then he'll keep the Detroit Lions off balance a little bit and have to prepare for both.
So what is your sense there, though? We all know the history with Trubisky. We know they traded up to take him. We know who went after him in that draft. All that is water under the bridge. And then, of course, they bring in Foles, who had the miracle playoff run with Philadelphia. What is your sense of where the advantage is there?
Listen, Greeny, I don't get it. I really don't. Regardless of who they name as a starter, whether it's Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles, the fact that we are having a quarterback competition with a former number 2 overall pick in year 4 of his career tells us all we need to know about what the Bears think of Mitchell Trubisky. I question the amount of faith they have in him, because not only did they turn down his 5th-year option, they brought in Nick Foles to compete. And given what we know about Trubisky, he is somebody who has struggled with confidence issues in the past. He's somebody where there's questions about his mental toughness. And I think if you're the organization and you firmly believe that Mitch is the guy, then this move, then just say it. Say we're riding with Mitch. But there are questions about whether Nick Foles gives them the best chance to win. And I actually do think he does.
It's Kimberly Martin. Stay close, Kimberly. I have much more for you. But let me bring the rest of my football crew in from this morning. And I got Booger McFarland, Tim Hasselbeck, and Mike Tannenbaum. And I want to start with you, Tim, as the quarterback in the conversation here. It's all well and good to try and keep the other team guessing. That's fine. But do you believe that 2 weeks before the season begins, the coach knows, the 2 quarterbacks know, and the locker room knows who the starting quarterback is?
Yeah, I think all of those people have a really good sense if it hasn't been, stated directly, to either quarterback or the team. I think, typically speaking, a team understands based on how reps go, how the practices are going, who the guy is going to be. So, look, I think that in typical years, coaches have tried to do this in the past to try to hide the starter, and then it ends up getting out. You see it throughout the preseason. Media has access to practices, as do fans sometimes in training camp. This is a unique year. If anyone was ever going to be able to hide an announcement like this would be the year that you could actually do that. But I do think in terms of making a decision, Matt Nagy is going to make a decision the week before or at some point this week about who a starter is going to be. And then that guy will get prepared to be the starter. The team will know about it. And then the question just ends up being, does it leak out?
What is your sense, Kim, quickly, of who that will be and should be?
Listen, I think it's going to be Mitchell Trubisky, and I know that's an unpopular take, but the reality is this. Nick Foles, in 8 years, has never played 16 games. He went 0-4 in Jacksonville last year. The Bears only gave up a 4th-round pick to acquire him, and they have a lot invested in Mitchell Trubisky. Do they need him to play well? Yes, they do, and I think there's a better opportunity for him to play well if he's named the starter rather than if he comes in week 8 or whatever it may be. So, remember, he did basically, play better than Nick Foles in a playoff game where they just missed a field goal, to lose that football game. I think they still think he can be good, and I think he'll get the first crack at it.
That's right. These 2 guys did face each other in a postseason game 2 years ago. Big fella, Booger McFarland, I remember I was sitting with you. You and I were having dinner together watching the draft that night when the Bears took Trubisky. Here we are right now. This is a crossroads, because if they make a decision on Foles here, that's essentially writing the ending of the story of Mitchell Trubisky in Chicago. What do you expect to happen?
Well, Greeny, they may as well go ahead and write their story, because if you wanted Mitchell Trubisky to be your starting quarterback, why do you bring in Nick Foles to create competition? I just think that if you go back to last season, Greeny, Trubisky struggling with his confidence, not really giving his team hope on a Sunday. Like, that's one of the jobs of a quarterback. You have to inspire the other 52 guys on that active roster to know that we can put the ball in your hands every single play. And with Mitchell Trubisky not wanting the TVs on in the facility, a lack of confidence, well, guess what? If you don't have confidence in yourself, how in the hell can I have confidence in you? And I think the organization, Matt Nagy, Ryan Pace recognized that. They brought in Nick Foles to create competition, but there's really no competition. This is Nick Foles' job to lose. And to your earlier point, Greeny, about naming the starter and who the starter is going to be, I fully expect the starter to be Nick Foles. I think that I agree with Tim. Everyone on that team is going to know, and it's just going to be a matter of time whether or not that leaks out. But I think if you're the Bears and you want this defense that is a championship-type defense to play up to their level, and you want this team to have some confidence in an unusual year of 2020, you put Nick Foles in and you invigorate that team to start this season.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.